We're so thrilled to have you here, and I had mentioned to our viewers earlier that you're an inspirational guy, and I find it really heroic when people have things happen in their life and not only find a way to overcome, but make something extra wonderful out of it. So you don't really go into it in the video. Tell us a little bit about your background and what happened in your life.
Well, long story short, I'm a musician. I played drums for a living my whole life. And one day, I had played on Friday night. Saturday, I had another gig, and I was right before the gig. I live at the beach here in Santa Barbara. And I went out like any other day surfing, body surfing. And I hit a seemingly angry wave that 20 yards out that just snapped my neck. I was totally paralyzed from the neck down and sent to the ICU, where I was for about a week, and then the rehab here in Santa Barbara, where I spent 6 weeks coming back from being totally paralyzed. I mean, it's quite a long story, so we'll skip to the 6. I walked out. They told me I wouldn't walk and I wouldn't have any normal bodily functions, but
But you walked out.
I walked out intact. I'm a little goofy physically. But I walk around pretty good, and I figured out how to do most things again. The program, the Rhythmic Arts Project program, was born in the rehab.
Yeah.
I worked closely with the director of recreational therapy. Her name is Libby Whaley. Libby and I started developing the program at first to address rehab goals: memory, focus, attention, balance, those sort of things. All the disciplines, the various disciplines in the hospital, found a use for the way we were using the drums. It's not a drum program. We don't teach beats or any sort of drum circle activities. We don't do that. We use the drums as a perceptual motor match, part of a visual, tactile, auditory combined with speech learning curve that you look at the drum as the tactile component of the lesson. So when you and I learned how to count to 4, we wrote 1, 2, 3, 4 on the blackboard. Our teacher did, and we copied 1, 2, 3, 4 on our yellow lined paper, most of us.
Yes.
That's how we learned how to make numbers and count to 4 initially. Here, our folks with intellectual differences sometimes, or most times, don't often grasp conventional scholastics, so we need a way to draw them in.
Yeah.
And I show them a drum. Drums are fun. Everybody. Yes. And I said, who likes rock and roll? Everybody likes rock and roll.
It's true.
It is. And so I tell them what a quarter note is. A quarter note is worth 1 beat. So then you get a drum, and I show you a chart. It has 4 quarter notes on it, and it's labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the drum. How many beats? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're learning how to count like we learn how to count in rock and roll.
Yeah.
It entices everybody. The drum makes it fun. But what we're actually doing is we have a visual perceptual motor match. We're looking at the chart 1, 2, 3, and 4. We hit the drum, so that's the tactile component of the learning curve. We don't look at it as a drum, but that we're actually feeling the lesson. Then we hear it, so it's auditory. And we combine that with speech. It's called a redundancy of information that condones the learning, which is, in this case, counting to 4.
Yeah.
And then we take that to, we push the envelope to whatever extent, whatever the ability level in terms of counting.
It's really quite brilliant, Eddie, because you're giving something that's really reinforcing the drum. And as you were saying, the tactile, we know that, especially for kids on the autism spectrum, and by the way, you work with all kinds of people who have all different kinds of differences, not just autism, but you work with kids with autism. And by adding that sensory component to it, you have great success at teaching things, correct?
We really have. I think it's, with autism and so much of our practice is autism. Although we work with everyone, but there's, half of the class has autism, it seems. Yeah. No matter where I go in the world, and we're in 6 countries now. So I think getting them involved, that we can, sort of command their attention.
Yeah.
Elongate that concentration. Some of the things we do that once we get through the first phase of the book, that one chart that has 4 notes on it becomes a bar, a whole bar, a whole line of music, so that they have to stay engaged. We have some very difficult exercises too, because as you know, many folks on the spectrum are really brilliant.
Yes.
When I first started working with children 15 years ago, I had a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old with autism. I showed them that I only had the first level of the book, and I showed them the book, and they went right through it. Notes and counting and accents and colors and shapes, and God, they looked at me 9 years old and said, is that all you got?
I love it.
And so I went back to my teacher, who is Seiko Nimi, who's a developmental therapist, and I said, Seiko, we really need to come up with some more challenging exercises, because these kids are a lot smarter than me.
It's amazing. So now you have a full curriculum that you can work on with kids.
Now we have like 112 pages of exercises and literature and hardware packages and dice and playing cards and shapes galore with colors and sign language and sequencing and patterning and on and on and on.
Because you found that using the drum, you can teach so many different things. You can teach colors, you can teach math, you can teach consequences, and you can teach language and communicating.
And confidence and behavioral concepts and everything. But using the drum as the tactile component. If I show you a shape and it's an octagon, first of all, I'll ask you to identify the shape. What is it? It's an octagon. How many sides or angles in an octagon? Well, there's 8. So that's 8 beats. So the visual is the visual that I show you, the octagon. It's worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beats. And then as it progresses, what color is that shape? And I might show you a blue octagon. So we add that. What is the shape? What is the color? The color is blue. What's the sign for blue? So we add sign language to the scenario. Then, so it's worth 8 beats. It's blue. It's an octagon, and this is the sign. And then it might be orange or brown or yellow, or black, or so whatever that is. And we're adding, and especially for kids or adults with autism, they have to stay engaged to answer all these questions.
Yeah.
And to get through it. I
absolutely love it, Eddie. I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. For folks who are watching, how can they participate? If they have a child in Southern California, I know that you've got classes that they can do. How can they participate if they're local?
Well, what we do is we have the trainer program. The next one's coming up in September for people who want to become facilitators, or for people who are special ed. We have a lot of special ed teachers. We have people who work in facilities that serve this population. So we have a 3-day intensive training program. I personally only teach classes after they've been to the training, and I'll go and do a hands-on in a school, for instance. And then the teachers take over. They basically integrate this Rhythmic Arts Project curriculum into their own existing curriculum, because it works on the same goals that they're trying to accomplish, but by other than conventional means. So I don't really teach classes where people could come and participate. They would, there are schools and facilities in California
that feature this program.
Yeah, where they're right, exactly, where they have integrated the modality, so to speak.
Okay,
So,
and when people go to your website, do you have a list of the schools that have integrated the modality?
well, not necessarily. It's,
Okay.
If you go there, if you go to the website, it'll tell you. It's better if they go to the website than they call me or Tracy here at the office personally.
Okay. Great.
And we could try to hook them up in that way. Or we could tell them when the next training is, or we could tell them where they could, we're also always doing benefits. And,
yes.
We have one on July 13th in Ojai. We have another one on August 2nd in Carpinteria. We have a kind of a private affair on August 30th in Santa Barbara. So we're always moving.
Wonderful.
Next week I'm leaving Saturday for Memphis, where we, at the SERVS organization, they serve over 900 people with developmental disabilities.
Wow.
And we are training them to become trainers so that people from elsewhere in Tennessee, Alabama, people will be able to come from all over and learn the TRAP.
Okay, great. So if somebody wants to bring you to train a large group of people, you're willing to do that. You're willing to travel to do that.
Yes.
And if somebody wants to become versed in this, to be a trainer, there are trainings that are available.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Eddie, I think it's incredible. And the only way that they can get access to the curriculum is if they become a trainer.
They need to be certified because it's too. We used to sell the books online before we had this incredible volume that we have now, and it wasn't. It didn't sit right with me that someone might just buy the book and then go out and call themselves a teacher, because we're much. We have a. You have to meet certain criteria. You have to have background checks. You have to have CPR training. You have to be certified by this office in order to participate as a facilitator or a teacher.
I appreciate that as a parent, because if people are going to participate in something, they want to know that they're getting the right quality. So I appreciate that you do that. And I got to tell you, I think you're a really inspirational guy, and I'm sorry that you went through what you went through, but the fact that you rose above all of it and found something that was not only beneficial to you, but beneficial to so many other people, I think is amazing.
I thank God for my broken neck every day. I mean, look at the folks like yourself that I get to hang out with now and to collaborate with, and having children and adults with intellectual differences in my life it's the best thing that could have happened.
Isn't it amazing? And we saw in the video that they're it's so inspirational, and I know that this has become a passion for you.
It truly is. It's more like a gift.
Yeah.
I pinch myself sometimes and wonder what I've done to deserve this. So I work with a lot of. We're in preschools now, so I did 2 preschool. I worked with 2 teachers this past week, and the class is about 15 minutes. They have an attention span of a gnat. All of us at that age, and.
Yes.
And I just love it. We have a strong program in Quito, Ecuador, and they're adopting the program and writing the curriculum, using my curriculum to address neurotypical children from 0 to 5.
Absolutely. Well, I think so. You're so you're international too. If they want you to go overseas to train, you're willing to do it.
I have done. We had very strong classes in the Middle East before this uprising.
Yeah.
I've been to Bulgaria. I've been to Damascus and Homs and Jordan, and we just trained a friend of mine in Australia. Now he's teaching the TRAP curriculum in Australia. We have TRAP Canada, where I'll be going back to. I'll be in Toronto training in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it all leads back to the website. I want to make sure that we give the website again, which is traponline.com, and TRAP stands for the Rhythm Arts Project.
Traponline.org.
.org, excuse me, .org.
Sorry,
okay.
It'll get there either way, but
okay. All right. Well, Eddie, I thank you so much for everything that you do and for taking the time to be with us. And we're going to try to get up to your fundraiser on the 13th to check it out.
Oh, that'd be great.
In Ojai.
Thank you so much for what you do. And, it's a real privilege to be on your show. Thank you.
Well, it's a privilege for us to have you. You have a great weekend, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.